It's time for a mock draft Monday, people. Every single Monday from right now all the way through the 2025 NFL draft, we're going to have a draft analyst joining us to talk all things Jets, draft, and top questions. Today, we talk about the top Jets draft fits here on the channel. Let's roll.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Ashton Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you people like the video. Hit subscribe, baby, and spread the gospel of all things Boy Green Daily. We've got some fun shows coming up, and wow, Super Wildcard Weekend was pretty exciting. We got another game tonight as well. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. That'll randomly come up. And I want to send out this message. First off, like the video and hit subscribe as you head in. Number two, if you've got draft questions, either overall questions about the NFL draft, specific Jets draft related questions, or things of that nature, send those in. And throughout today's show, we'll try to factor some of those into the equation. So feel free to do that here on the channel, baby. And we're looking forward to it. And this man, last offseason, joined us every Monday throughout the process, and it received such rave reviews that we wanted to do a discount double check, baby, and we wanted to bring it back. And this man's name is Dom C. You can check out his YouTube channel. All the descriptions and links are down in the description down below. It is Project Prospect with Dom C, talking all things NFL draft. He also has two shows on the Talking Jets Network. Mondays are a very, very busy day for this man. NYJ Draft Show, Mondays at 9. 10 o'clock mock, Mondays at 10 p.m. He's a very busy guy, and he joins us now right here on the program. Dom C is back for a second offseason, baby. Good morning, Dom C.
Morning, Paul. How are you, pal?
Hey, boy, another year of talking Jets draft immediately as soon as the season's over.
Oh, man, as soon as the season's over? I mean, it started sometime around Halloween, buddy. For the average folk. It started in like July for me, but I'm not the average folk. I'm a nitwit.
Yeah, which we appreciate your dedication to the draft, which leads us to just let's start off here because this is our first episode together this offseason. What do you just make of this class? Some people, the generic question is, this is a strong class, or this is a weak class, or this is a this or a that. Well, what's your temperature on it?
I would say overall, Paul, if I'm being honest, and I'm not talking, when we'll talk specific positional groups, but overall, I think it's a little bit less than stellar. I mean, everything, the litmus test is going to be, comparing it to the 2024 draft class, which was loaded from top to bottom. I mean, if you look through, and we're talking just the first round, if you go from 1 to 32, there are some big time names, and I'd say there's a handful of those. A handful. And when I say handful, I'd probably say 6 to 10 that went in the, from 16 to 32 last year. That would be top 10 automatic this year. Wow. So the talent in this class isn't as top heavy, but there are positions which the depth is really good. That, arguably better than last year's class. So overall, meh. It lacks that it lacks that big punch. Like, you had the 3 quarterbacks last year. That was an anomaly that all went early. There are some big flash players. That the tackle class was, awesome last year. You had the wide receivers. You had Harrison and you had Neighbors. There's not there's not one of those guys this year. In my grading, last year I had 3 quote unquote blue chip prospects, which were, in my grading system, a 7.75 or higher, in a scale of 8. And I think the highest this year, the highest grade, 2 grades I have are Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, and they're at like 7.01 and 7.04, something like that. So there's a big discrepancy in the talent at the top, but I think there's some positional groups that as we get through this, we'll see are pretty deep and pretty good.
Okay, well, that a lot of that is very compelling. Again, as the New York Jets are trying to get ready to make some game-changing selections. Let me flip this. We've got the Boy Green raffle leaderboard. If anyone wants to gift a membership during the show today, you'll get a raffle ticket for our big grand prize. We'll be giving away several cool prizes at the end of the month, including a variety of prizes. Let's throw it up here on the screen real quick. An Aaron Rodgers Nike Atmosphere jersey, $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card, and a custom laser engraving package extravaganza with Jets Boy Green license plates, pens, coins, commemorative coin, and more happening here on the program. But let's get into some of those positions. You teased it. You believe some positions are deeper than others. What are the deepest positional groups in the 2025 NFL draft?
Well, I think the deepest positional group is the running back class, probably. I'd say maybe 14 guys, round about 13, 14 guys that I think will have an impact in the league in short period, whether or not they're 3 down backs or part of committees. I got 13 guys with a 4th round grade or higher. And I got another 7 with that 4th/5th round moniker, which is, again, just in my scale, my system. So I think the running back class is very deep. Obviously, one of the best players in the country in Ashton Genty, everyone's darling. They heard and watched him play out of Boise State this year. I mean, he's ticketed to go in the 1st round. I'd be willing to say, again, it's only January now, but I'd be willing to say there's a possibility we see one more running back taken in the 1st round, which is a real anomaly. But I think the class is that good, and then you're going to have a litany of guys that go from in the 2nd and 3rd round, because that's always the soft, comfy, cushy spot for running back. So I think the running back class is very deep. I also think that the edge class is extremely deep, which is good. I think that the Jets are going to be in market for an edge rusher. I don't know how early or how late, but again, we'll speak of just the cream of the crop in this class. And if you've been watching football at all, over the past 2 weeks, you've heard the name college football, that is, and you've heard the name Abdul Carter.
For sure.
And I don't think. Listen, if you asked me right now, who are the 3 guys that if we stuck and picked at pick 10, who do you want? Like, there's no doubt in my mind, or 7, what I say, 10, I apologize.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that Abdul Carter would be tops of that list.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, hands down. However, I don't think he's going to reach us. So the good thing is that, like I said, I'm looking at my draft. I have 18 guys with at least a 4th round grade or higher.
Okay.
Yeah. So and 11 of them with a 2nd round grade or higher. So
and this is at edge rusher specifically.
This is at edge rusher. And the 3rd group, I'd probably say there's a tie between the interior defensive linemen and the tight ends. I think the interior defensive lineman is a group that's a little bit more top heavy. And then it kind of gets a little weak as you get later on. But again, I think there's going to be, a good dozen, maybe 13 interior defensive linemen that are going to hear their name called before, the end of round 4. Like I said, I got 12 guys with a grade 4, a round 4 grade or higher, and tight end class as well. Like it's not as strong in terms of grades. For me at least, but I mean, there's a solid top 3. There's 3 guys that I think are going to affect the NFL game right from the get-go. None of them to me have that, that true game-changing, Brock Bowers element, blue chip status, but 3 very, very good players in Colston Loveland from Michigan, Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, and Tyler Warren from Penn State.
Wow, some compelling names there, and some positions that the Jets and Jet fans will circle. One position they probably won't is running back, but I'm just kind of curious about it. What
Mhm.
is the ceiling for Ashton Genty? How high could he go in this draft?
Um, I mean, I think you can honestly start and this might sound crazy, but depending on how the top of the board goes in terms of the quarterbacks, like I think Genty's probably in play starting at Oakland at 6. Do I think
Wow.
he'll go that high? No, I think they're not a running back away. But anywhere from I think Oakland at 6 to wherever Houston ends up is going to be the absolute floor. I don't think he'll get if he's still on the board. I don't think he'll get past the Chargers at whatever they are at 23, 24, wherever they end up. To
Plus,
me,
I've
and
heard a
if
lot
we
of Cowboys talk. So
yeah, I've heard a lot of Cowboys talk. And that's a clean, seamless fit because I think Rico Dowdle, if I'm not mistaken,
he's a free agent.
has his contract has expired. So yeah, 12 could be it. The Raiders at 6 is as high as I think we'll see him, and the Chargers, wherever they end up, 20 whatever is probably the floor. And if we let the Chargers, if the NFL lets the Chargers get Ashton Genty, like shame on the other 31 owners because that's exactly what Harbaugh
Of course.
Harbaugh wants. So
Let me ask you this.
yeah,
This might be a dumb question, but you say the depth is so great in the running back class. Could that hurt Janty to say, hey, man,
yeah,
sure, you're pretty good, but to your point, you have 13, 14 guys that you believe can make an impact very early in their careers. They say, why do I got to use the top 5, top 10 pick, regardless if you're Bijan Robinson or Jameer Gibbs or whoever the hell you are? I
yeah,
can just wait and
yeah.
get James Cook in the second round in this made up world. Like,
No, you're
could
absolutely
that affect his stock?
absolutely it absolutely can, and you're absolutely right in that. Which is why shameless plug in my latest
Ooh.
mock draft, which will be premiering at 9 a.m. today.
Ooh,
I
nice.
have Dallas passing on the running back for that reason alone. Like I said, there's other positions that other positional groups especially that are very, very thin in as compared to years past. Like Jets fans, I'm going to be honest with you here.
Okay.
We need to thank our lucky stars, and I'm not trying to kick up the Bowers drama, but we need to thank our lucky stars that we got ourselves a left tackle last year.
Oh,
because this tackle class is the pits. It is it is
good Lord.
really, really bad, really, really thin, not a lot of depth. So if you're a team that's in need of a tackle, the Cleveland Browns and the Patriots and the 49ers and the Bears, I'm trying to think of any team that could use an offensive tackle. Like, man, it's rough. So thank our lucky stars that we secured our tackle bag last year. But getting back to the running backs, yes, I think that's a fair point. And then you watch the development of the Detroit Lion offense, where they utilize by choice 2 running backs, 2 different styles, 2 different schematic fits in that offense, which is very dynamic. However, a lot of teams I think are going to try to replicate something like that. And you see it to an extent with our Jets, right? You had a little bit of thunder and Braylon Allen and lightning and Breece Hall. We just couldn't get the conductor to call it right and use them in the appropriate spots, so on and so forth. So, yeah, that's a good point, Paul. I think that's Genty stock. If there's anything that's going to hurt Genty, it's one, the depth in the running back class, and 2, the amount of tread on his tires. And 3, three things, I guess. 3, the fact that there's just some GMs who just, won't take a running back with high capital. They don't value the position.
It's just their rule. Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
They don't value the position enough. You get 4 years, you thank them for your services and you move on. That's just some mentality.
One of the things you mentioned earlier, you said if the Jets had a top 3 or whatever their
Mhm,
big board is,
mhm.
and you said Abdul Carter would probably be at the top of that list.
Yes.
There's a chance obviously he could go before that. Who else would be in that top 3 for the Jets at pick 7?
Now we're not talking my board. We're talking just for the Jets,
Yeah,
Jets
right. Yeah,
specific.
right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
My top 3 in this class would be Abdul Carter, the edge
Yep.
rusher from Notre Dame.
Penn State. Yep.
Yeah, or Penn State. My
That's
brain's
okay.
not
I'm here
working
for
today.
you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm looking and my eyes are going all over the place.
Yeah.
My number 2 would be Tet McMillan, the wide receiver out of
Ooh,
Arizona. And
nice.
number 3 would probably be Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. And I
Oh
know that
boy.
would really that would really twist some of the knickers of some Jets fans taking a tight end that high after passing on one last year. And I understand that. Listen, Bowers was an elite talent. But again, I digress. I'm glad we got our tackle last year looking at this class.
Oh, that's for sure. And I love Volu Fashanu. And I thought if he came out the year prior, man, I just thought for sure he'd be a top 5 or top 10 pick. I know Paris Johnson was the one who ended up going wherever Arizona played the board and moved all over the place and still got their boy. But I thought Olu would have went really high in that class. So I love that we got Olu. Blessed be he. And I've been seeing some mock drafts because ESPN's been pumping them out. And to your point, I've been seeing a lot of tight ends in their first round mocks. I'm like, good Lord, 2, 3 guys. Let me pull up Jordan Reed's here and see what was on there. But I'm pretty sure I saw him have several guys in the first round, sort of to what you were talking about with some of those names. Maybe again, with all due respect, it's not Brock Bowers, which I guess that's going to be the easy comp for a lot of these people as they're coming in. But the Jets tight end room, if we're being blunt, I mean, it was a disaster.
Grotesque.
Yeah, grotesque. I mean, it was disgusting. I mean, all the Jeremy Ruckert stands. I kept telling them, I don't think he's very good, guys, and they're like, "Shut up, Paul. He's our guy."
Yeah, and listen, I'm probably vice president of the Tyler Conklin fan club. Like, I like the guy. I like the player. I really like the person. And if I'm gonna keep it 100, keep it real. He's probably best suited as a tight end 2. Which, if he wanted to come back as my tight end 2, for a reasonable price, I'm happy for it. I'd be fine with it. But yes, I think an upgrade to the room needs to be done. And yeah, listen, I think you can. I mean, it's only January, Paul, but you can almost lock in, Bic pen, blue ink, that there'll be 2 tight ends taken in the first round. Maybe, depending on what happens between now and April, because a lot is still going to change between then. Maybe you could see a 3rd.
And the second, what is it, Colston Loveland out of Michigan?
Yeah, arguably, I think that's everyone's number 2. Although some people really love Harold Fannin, and I don't know if you're familiar with him, Paul. Are you familiar with Harold Fannin?
No.
So Harold Fannin Jr. He's a little bit smaller. He's really much more that big slot than he is inline tight end because he's only about.
And what college is he from?
Bowling Green.
Okay, Bowling Green. Oh wow.
Yeah, right. He's almost. It's about 6'3.5", about 230 pounds. Very, think of the kind of skill set that Oronde Gadsden. I know you're a Syracuse guy. Think of that,
baby.
Think of that skill set on steroids. Okay. So Harold Fannin led the nation in receptions and receiving yards last year as a tight end playing at Bowling Green. He is a legitimate weapon with in the pass game for a bigger guy at 6'3", 230. He's got he's got a good burst. He understands the nuances and the concepts necessary in running routes and running pass patterns. He runs them like a wide receiver. He's got really good yards after the catch ability. And like I said, the versatility that he offers, he's big enough that if you want to isolate him and put him on the boundary, Quasi as an X receiver in some situations, he can do it. You could put him in motion, and have him work that Z or that flanker. Like I said, I think his home is going to be that big slot or, in that H-back. He's not a guy that I want to see or we should see lined up in line. Think more, like I said, along the lines of Evan Engram type, Mike Gesicki type tight end. But a really, really good understanding of how to play how to play football like a wide receiver. I think he has. Let me close this thing here. Yeah, he scored over 24 first downs. He's got an ADOT over 6.7 for the year. He even scored a 65.8, and that's per PFF in blocking. Which is not terrible, although the majority of those were done at the second level or out in the flank in the perimeter.
Oh, I see.
He's just not an inline guy, but he's a guy. He's going to be at Senior Bowl. I can't wait to see him live. I can't wait to see if he goes to Mobile and tests, because if he's tests, if his athletic scores are through the roof, man, he's going to jump into the first round.
By the way, what Senior Bowl is this for you, Dom?
Senior Bowl 4.
All right, Senior Bowl 4 never gets old. Mobile, Alabama, everybody. We'll be having Dom on that week in some special episodes, so keep an eye out for that. Again, make sure you guys are checking out Project Prospect with Dom C. Again, that's in the YouTube description down below. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel, talking all things NFL Draft. Plus, he does 2 shows on the Talking Jets Network, baby. The NYJ Draft Show, Mondays at 9, and then the 10 o'clock mock. Well, Mondays at 10 o'clock. I mean, it's just that easy, baby. So make sure you guys enjoy it. I'll try to work in throughout today's show. I've got a million questions, but I want to work in some of the fan questions that also exist. And I'm seeing we're getting some, this is very specific from FLFL 98, some Rutgers Scarlet Knight action here. Is that Kyle Munganai?
Munungai. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. There's a running back to throw in there.
Yeah. Really exciting player. I think just a victim of circumstance in a really deep class. He's my 9th rated running back. And I got a very high 4, very low 3rd round, very high 4th round grade. Sneaky speed for a guy at 5'9", 210 pounds. Like, he's got the ideal build. The NFL, if the NFL has, can build a running back in a lab, everyone would say, "Oh, they'll build Derrick Henry." No, they won't. The NFL wants their running backs between 5'9" and 5'10 and a half, between 202 and 212 pounds. That's their comfort spot. So he hits that. He hits those measurables all the time. I mean, he was an absolute dog, an absolute workhorse during his time at Rutgers. He runs low. He runs violent. Like I said, you watch him play, and again, it's Rutgers, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like, most of the time, they're not playing with leads, so you don't get to see. But you watch his vision and his ability to just kind of move his hips and shimmy around. He's got the speed. I see him as an early down back. I see him as the again, we'll use the lines comparison. I see him as the David Montgomery portion of a running back by committee, Okay. Like I said, he's just not a comp to David Montgomery, but that type of style, probably more so your early down back, which, if given the opportunity, can find a crease and break one. So I think, like I said, Kyle Munungai is a really nice player. He's just a little lower on my board. He's a victim of a really deep class. I got him one spot ahead of everyone's other favorite running back, Cam Skattebo from Arizona State.
Wow. Okay.
You familiar with Skattebo?
I am. How could you not be after the college football playoff, for Pete's sake? A lot of people are quite familiar, so maybe some people will be upset at you. Another question coming in here, Jets Worldwide, wide. Make sure you check out their YouTube channel. They do all kind of fun games, Jets Match Game, Jets Wheel of Fortune. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you check out their channel. Q for Dom, what's the furthest off you've been on a prospect? And for folks that are listening in, Dom does this where he analyzes the draft and he believes a player is blah, and sometimes they become blee. You're like, whoa, okay, didn't have that on the bingo card. And then also he would like your thoughts, Jets Worldwide, would like your thoughts on Will Howard pros and cons. So go ahead with a double dipper of questions here.
Sure. Oh, man. I'll go with Will Howard first.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
I know everyone wants to or everyone kind of wants to force a quarterback to the Jets this year. And again, I'm kind of taking Jets Worldwide question and kind of internalizing it to the Jets. I know everyone
Yes.
wants to kind of, force a pick to the Jets in the quarterback room. I get it. I just don't know, and I'm just being honest with you. A lot of these guys have dropped out of the draft. A lot of them went back to school. Some of these names, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Drew Alar from Penn State, Carson Beck from Georgia, now of the University of Miami, has has declared back to school. So this class has thinned out extremely a lot, and it wasn't that strong to begin with. The top of the top of the quarterback class. I happen to like Shedeur Sanders a little bit better than Cam Ward. They're very close for me. Both of them would have been, quarterback 6 and quarterback 7 in last year's class, based on, if I took the 2 years combined. So that
Kyle
does.
McCord.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Everyone wants to force a quarterback, and again, I think that's what Will Howard as a selection will be. You want some pros. I think he's got the build for it. He's got an NFL build. He's 6'5", 240 pounds, 235 pounds, something like that. He's got a really, really strong arm. I like the fact that he's able to throw at all levels. And what do I mean by that? When you watch Matthew Stafford, he could sling it deep, right?
Sure.
And he's pinpoint accurate with the stuff 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. But when he needs to layer it into the middle, kind of over a zone defender and find Puka Nacua sitting there, he's never off on that. And I love the way Will Howard has that ability to do it as well. Ohio State runs a lot of in-breaking stuff, so he's been asked to do that, to throw the ball accurately and precisely at all levels. What I don't like about him is you're looking at a guy who's 23 years old now. He'll be 24 by the end of the draft. We see that that's not the best. That's not the worst thing in the world when you look at Bo Nix, but I think Will Howard has a fraction of the overall talent that Bo Nix has. I think he, plays a little too much hero ball. I think that there's still processing issues. You watched it. When you put a little pressure on him, when Texas put a little pressure on him, he kind of got those happy feet. He doesn't throw, although I think he can make all the throws in the. I think he can make all the throws that are asked of him. He doesn't throw. He throws with what I label as late anticipation, like. He's already, if he's on 1 and he knows 1's not there, he's there going to look to 2, and then he's going to take a second and say, oh, okay, 2's open. So then he'll kind of throw and lead it. That gives an extra step or 2 for the defenders to go. Just has to, get to that process and get to that next target a little bit quicker. I think he's limited in the ceiling. Like, he's going to be a backup, in my opinion, in the NFL. And I don't, if Will Howard's watching this, I'm sorry. Listen, I apologize to Will Howard and his parents, but a backup NFL quarterback gig might be the best gig in the world, right? So that's what I think about Will Howard. I wouldn't force a guy like that. You talked about Kyle McCord. I happen to have McCord ranked a lot higher than Will Howard.
There you go, baby.
And and to the other point about a miss, yes, I miss all the time. Biggest miss, I guess, in terms of value. I'm trying to think who I was high on last year that didn't go.
Well, I'll just tell you, one I butchered Josh Allen. I thought he would be a total bust, and he's been an MVP candidate. So I was an idiot. I never thought the accuracy could improve from college to NFL to that level, and I've been dead wrong. That development plan in Buffalo, they deserve all the credit in the world.
Yeah. You know what? I had Cam Hart from Notre Dame last year as a top 20 player in the draft.
Oh yes, I remember.
And he went round 5. He happens to be playing okay, so I don't know if that's considered a miss. In terms of where I had him valued to where the NFL had him valued, I'd probably say that's one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
So
I like that one. All right, we're about to get you out of here, but let me ask you this, because this is on Jet fans' minds everywhere. Some people rooting for wins, some people rooting for losses. The Jets ultimately picking at 7. How should Jet fans feel about that, based on what's in this class and the needs of this football team?
Well, before I answer your question, I think we should feel pretty crummy about it because, I'll speak for myself that there was never a season where my expectations were higher and the end results lower. So that's why I think we should feel crummy that we're picking at 7.
Yeah.
Overall, after that, like, listen, truth be told, and you're going to hear this over the next, couple months that we're together on Mondays, Paul. Everyone's going to say, you want to be in the top 2 for a quarterback. But if I'm being honest, I'm not even sure that this is the quarterback class that you want to hitch your wagon to. And that's no shade to Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I think they'll be fine players. I question if either of them are franchise. So if you're not going to get one of those two guys, you might as well just sit. There's no real blue chip top end talent in this class. So not being at 1 or 2 or 3. If there's going to be any year, if you want to take anything positive out of this season, that we didn't miss out on a franchise player, in my opinion.
Okay, well, again, that should make fans feel a lot better, but there's a certain, I won't name this account, but there's a certain Twitter account out there in the universe that isn't happy when the Jets win somewhat meaningless games at the ends of season and potentially takes them out of certain players that they would prefer. Again, I won't name any names here and have been harassing you in the past, C, but hey, different strokes. Different folks is how I feel. That's it.
Right.
Well, again, Project Prospect with Dom C. You got a very busy day on Mondays, all offseason, so we appreciate you, as always, for taking the time. And, of course, returning for another season. Thanks to everyone who submitted questions throughout the show. And, Dom, this is going to be a lot of fun throughout this process.
Yeah, Paul, look forward to it. And like I said, I look forward to the comments and the questions. Please drop them to Paul, and if we can't get to them on the show, we'll make sure we touch base next show with it. So
absolutely. Again, and also on Twitter, DC_NY Jets. I see you're hosting those Twitter spaces all the time, engaging in conversation, and
I'm not hosting, but I do get involved, and especially the draft related ones. Yeah,
that's always
pretty active
fun.
on Twitter.
All right, thanks, brother. We'll see you next week.
Bye, bud.
There he is, Dom C. Again, his direct YouTube link is down below. Project Prospect with Dom C. Check out all his draft coverage. Dom C will be with us every single Monday throughout the entire process, with rare exceptions, For instance, Senior Bowl week in a couple of weeks, that will be travel day on that Monday. So we'll have a different draft analyst then on the Monday, but Dom C will give us bonus shows throughout the week live from the Senior Bowl. So make sure you guys take full advantage, become a Boy Green Coffee Club member, send in those questions. It's going to be a real hoot. We over 400 people in the room. We're going to stay on. We're going to answer more of your questions and phone calls. Plus, there's a lot of Jets news with the head coach and GM search. We'll give you some more details about all the latest. And Mike Vrabel is officially a member of the New England Patriots. Pass the biscuits. Water is wet. The sky is blue. More coming up right here on Boy Green Daily. We'll open up the phone lines next, right here on the program. Let's roll.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green.
There you go. There's that phone lines are open. That is the pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25 if you'd like to interact or call into the show. By the way, thank you, FL Film 98. That was great, B-Chain. Thanks for asking my question. Of course, I'll work better on name pronunciation for Rutgers players than any players in this draft. I really want to do that, so I appreciate that. Alan here. Paul, you can't be a creator who is going to trade the 7th pick for Tomlin. Please say no. No, I am not. We brought up the conversation on the show yesterday because there was a Sports Illustrated analyst, insider, whatever you want to call him, who said, the Jets would be a great fit for Mike Tomlin and says they should trade for him and all this other jazz. We brought up the topic yesterday. I had a good back and forth with my father about it. My father's all about acquiring Mike Tomlin. I'll allow him to speak for himself, but he was here this weekend saying it. For me, the 7th overall pick is far too rich. And I get it. People say, well, Paul, Darren Lee, D. Milner, Kyle Wilson, all these first-round busts. And see, Like, they could just be bad. And yeah, sure, I guess, but they could also be Sauce Gardner. They could be Garrett Wilson. They could be Micah Parsons. They could be whatever you want to say. So I'm not willing to trade the 7th overall draft choice for Mike Tomlin. It sounds like, by the way, anyway, a news alert from Jerry Dulac, who covers the Pittsburgh Steelers out there in Pittsburgh, says the Steelers do not plan on making any move with Mike Tomlin, whether it's a firing, and I always thought that was silly, or a trade. It sounds like they are rolling back with Mike Tomlin, barring a new change. So, Alan, the conversation, I guess, is dead now because of that. And also, no, I would not be willing to trade the 7th overall pick. I know a lot of other people are, not me. I'd have to try to, and I get it, trading head coaches in the past is an expensive venture. Again, we explained that on the show yesterday. Sean Payton was just traded, it was a 1 and a 2. They got back a 3. Bill Belichick was a 1 in an exchange of all these other mid-round picks. Bill Parcells was like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and all this other craziness. So, it's an expensive venture when you did John Gruden. That was a first, second, $8 million in cash. So it's an expensive venture typically when coaches are traded. But with the current stock of where Tomlin is, I just 6 straight postseason losses. Like the stock is sort of low. So I don't know if I should pay the high premium. And plus, like I said, from the Pittsburgh people, he is not going to be moved. So I just don't think it's going to happen. But I appreciate the question, Alan. All right, we'll get more into all the other topics I mentioned, but let's get to the phone lines. Go to guy Easy here on the program. What's up, Easy?
Hey, I'm working again. Isn't that amazing?
Oh,
like
I
6
don't know if that's
freaking
bad,
weeks with no 6 weeks with no work, man.
Jesus.
That was terrible. Yep, I burned through a lot of my savings, but luckily I'm still good.
Yeah,
still got this horrible cold, but
it sounds like I'm gonna hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you feel better.
But I had to work,
Yeah.
But so I watched half of a game yesterday.
Which one?
I watched all of them. I watched half of them and then I went to bed.
Oh, there you go. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I don't have any skin in the game, so I just get my little football fix and then I go lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like a lot of Jet fans are probably like that in the audience.
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoy a good game. I could already see the handwriting on the wall when Denver when they doinked that field goal. I was like, that's it, done.
Yeah. That was impressive. What a way for that to happen.
I mean, it was a good end of a first half for them. A touchdown, and then they drive all the way back to get like deep into field goal range. I mean, that was a very makeable field goal.
Oh, you're talking about that doink. Oh yeah, you didn't see the end of the game. The Commanders Buccaneers game had the doink for the win, and that Eagles Packers one had the doink for the miss. So no, a lot of doinks apparently.
That's 3. When was the last time 3 guys hit the goalpost on kicks in one playoff series?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, the Washington one doinked in. It hit off the crossbar and went in and gave the Washington Commanders their first playoff win since 2006. So that was pretty wild. But
good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. But to your point, in the Eagles-Packers game, you have the fumble immediately off the front. I mean, boy, there is
I thought he recovered it. I thought the Packers recovered that ball. He clearly had a chest and was on the ground being touched. That's dead ball right there.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. And then, everyone knows what happens at the bottom of a pile.
Well, it doesn't matter. That aerial view, he had the ball chested with both hands wrapped around it, and there were guys touching him while he was on the ground. That's dead ball right there.
Yeah.
I think they screwed it up. But it is the no fun league.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I was listening. Who was this guy you just had on?
Dom C. He is a draft analyst that grades and covers the draft professionally. He's going to join us every Monday on the show from now all the way through the draft.
I had said, and people are telling me that I'm crazy, but I mean, I legitimately would consider, and this is just based on who we get. I mean, if I was running the team and I had a good head coach in place, and I would ask him, I'd consider, do we trade Breece Hall to try to get a lot of draft capital? Because as far as I'm concerned, a running back is the easiest guy to replace and get immediate dividends on.
Well, what's a lot of picks? You say trade Breece for a lot of picks. What's a lot of picks?
Well, since Breece is a proven commodity, we could probably get a couple of decent, like a second and a third for him. And then we could go and we could get in the second or third round another running back. I mean, it's just that, and I love Breece. It's not, I don't want to trade him. I'm just entertaining ideas. I mean, a lot of people think that I'm crazy and they say I'm giving bad takes. I'm just throwing shit out there for content because we don't know what's going to happen. And I'm just trying to say, what if we did this? I'm just testing scenarios.
I like that you test scenarios easy. Don't let other people push you around, pal.
But I mean, what do you think? I mean, Breece Hall to the Vikings for JJ McCarthy, I think would be a great trade.
I don't know if the Vikings.
They got an unproven. They have an unproven guy who's injured, and then you're getting a premier running back with their great offensive line and their good quarterback. What the hell? That would be great.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in terms of like Breece Hall is talented and the Vikings could use it because Aaron Jones is a free agent, but they just used a top 10 pick on a quarterback that they traded up a spot for to trade him away for a running back entering the last year of his rookie deal. I'm just not sure if they're going to vibe with that.
But they got their quarterback now. You telling me you're going to bench Darnold after winning 14, 15 games? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but
that's not going to happen.
Let me try to think.
They're not going to let him go. They're not going to let him go. I mean, this isn't the old 70s NFL.
You know? Yeah, this isn't the old. What if they franchise tag Sam?
Why? I mean, what are you going to do? But then you're going to be stuck with two guys when you could get somebody premium for one of the guys who's unproven.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's a chance if they franchise tag him. I think the JJ McCarthy trade talks for all of us are dead. Because,
well, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you're the Vikings, if you are on the Vikings, forget the Jets because this has nothing to do with it. But if you're on the Vikings, would you trade McCarthy for Breece Hall?
No, I would not. I would tag. This is what I would do. I would tag. And again, I hope they don't do this because I'm a Jets fan and I don't want them to do this. But if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I would franchise tag Sam Darnold. And I'd make him prove he could do it again because J.J. McCarthy had these complications in his rehab apparently. So I would bring Sam Darnold back for the $40 million on the 1-year deal, play out this year and see what happens. They compete. They can do whatever the hell they want. And then if Sam's awesome again that whole year, then I either at that point I can either trade JJ or tag Sam again. So then there's all these other alterations. Again, the only way that to me JJ gets moved is if the Vikings go, clearly Sam's the guy. Here's a 5-year deal for $1 kajillion. And JJ, obviously there's no path for you here. We'll try to get you to the best spot we can and we'll trade your ass. That's the only way I could see the Vikings trading JJ.
I guess that does make sense because if he does turn out to be a good quarterback, it's better to have too many good quarterbacks than not enough quarterbacks, period.
Correct. Exactly. So that's what I think ultimately happens there, Easy. But I like it. And again, don't let anyone question the takes or anything of that nature. You keep bringing the action to this show. I appreciate it. You just keep bringing the action to the show. Which, keep the noise coming. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here, baby. Let's go to Ricky New York next year on the show. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Paul?
Yeah, not too bad.
I don't fault Easy for coming up with different scenarios. I do the same thing myself, Sure. I caught all kinds of heat because I was saying, we need to draft Will Johnson to replace Reed and also Eccles leaving possibly, both of them going, get us another corner. Then we have him and Sauce for a year and have the best, duo in the league probably. But then after that, we can trade Sauce, move on. And, all the things that people said about, Sauce doesn't really shadow number one receivers. Will Johnson can. He's more of a man corner as opposed to a zone corner. And you know what? The people will push back at first, but then I'll say, okay, well, if you got to pick one, Garrett or Sauce, who are you going to pick? And people always say Garrett. And I'm like,
yeah.
So therefore, does it, if you can't pay both, which hopefully we could pay both. But
yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I hope we do pay both.
But reality is you can't always pay everybody. And Quinnen's making a lot of money. Quincy's going to be needing a new deal at some point.
Yeah, he's got 1 year left on his deal and through 2025. Yep.
Yeah, you got Breece expiring. I mean, and the thing with Easy is I don't mind the idea, but you're not getting a second and a third for Breece. There's no way, proven commodity or not, because what? Unfortunately, running back is not a valued position. Breece was a second round pick himself. So you could say, like, why am I giving a second and a third for that guy? I can get a running back like that in the second round. Likewise, the kid from Buffalo, James Cook, second round pick.
Yes, a second round pick, correct.
Breece.
Yes.
He's got more yards than Breece, and he scored 14 touchdowns this year. So there's another example of a guy you can get in the second round. So you're just, proven or not, you're not getting that for him. Idea wasn't bad, just the price was a little bit too high. Like, I mean, trust me, like I've been doing mock drafts and stuff, and I kept trading back for more picks, and I got crazy with it. And but then I'm looking, I'm like, geez, now I'm having these like 12 people draft classes that how the hell am I going to pay? How the hell am I going to pay them all?
That's the problem, right?
It's brutal because there's certain prospects that I really, really, really like.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's more of them than the amount of picks that we have. So boy, it would be nice to have like a extra second and extra third this year. And
of course, absolutely.
And I know that we are going to lose the one pick that we traded away for Reddick. But then the following
2026.
Year, the following year, if we get the same third round pick for him, if he doesn't re-sign with us, which I'm pretty sure we're not re-signing him.
Yeah, the problem is I just don't think he's going to. Now, in theory, it all would have worked out great. If Hassan would have came in and did his 10-plus sack season that we all thought he was going to do, and then he's this hired mercenary that just leaves after the year and signs some crazy big money deal with someone else, we could have gotten that comp pick in the future that could have replaced the pick we gave up. But now with him having one sack for the full season, I don't think anyone's going to give him anything. I think maybe he gets a 1 year deal for like a $3 or $4 million. And unfortunately, that won't be enough for the comp pick formula. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate reality, I think, of what will happen with Reddick.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't know he'd actually have to get paid handsomely in order for that to happen.
yeah. So they're going to have to add all that up. It's going to have to be like handsome,
because
that's not for it to happen.
That's not. I can't see anybody paying him anything, and I know we're not re-signing him, especially with a new regime coming in. I can't see, I can't see a brand new coach going, ooh, that's what I need is a trained killer that's going to get me a half a sack a season. No.
Yeah, let me circle the wagons around that guy. I don't, who knows? I guess they haven't hired that person yet, so I don't want to go out on a limb. But yes, that my gut would say absolutely not.
And just what the hell, Hassan Reddick? How do you go from like 14, 16 a year to nothing?
What an idiot! Yeah,
but between Hassan Reddick and Tyron Smith, we had, just like we had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year with Garrett and Sauce. We have the offensive and defensive flops of the year between those two guys. Jesus Christ.
I just would have never had that on the, if Tyron Smith, if someone said, Paul, you got Tyron Smith in the offseason, I'm like, woohoo, that's who I wanted. And they're like, Paul, I'm sorry to report, I've gone into the future and I've come back to report that Tyron Smith failed. And I'm like, damn it, he got hurt. I knew that was possible. They're like, no, actually he didn't. He did, but that's not the reason why he failed. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? He played. He just sucked. And I'm like, wow, I would not have had that on the bingo card.
Both guys, they didn't just like slow down or drop off a little bit. They jumped off a cliff, both of them.
Just tanked.
Unbelievable.
God awful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, the good news is that we're going to be fresh. Going into 2025, we're in the year 2025, but the new GM, the new head coach, we're going to have some freshness around, which hopefully, bears better fruit. That's
yeah, exactly. Better days ahead. And hey, so far we're undefeated this year, so let's keep it going.
I like the cut of your jib, Ricky. Thanks for the call. By the way, I'll give you guys this because I want to make sure I don't forget, and I'll keep coming back to the phone lines here. Rich Cimini was doing ESPN New York yesterday, and he said he expects the Jets to hire their GM in the next couple of days. So there is a loophole. I think we talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday, but there's a loophole in the rules that if let's say the Jets want to hire someone from the Lions. I don't know. I'm making this up. I don't know who it's going to be, but let's say they want to hire someone from the Lions. As long as they have a written permission slip from the Lions, the Jets can hire them before they're eliminated from the playoffs. If they don't have that written permission, they can't. But why would a front office care? I don't think they would. So that's the whole. Rich Cimini gave us that nugget on Sunday morning, and then when he did radio yesterday, he said he expects a GM to be in here. And there was a lot of interesting names on the GM list. They haven't done any second interviews yet, so this hiring you expect to happen in the next couple of days is fascinating. I'm wondering who it would be. Again, we've had no second interviews yet, so I don't know who that guy is. But we will see. But I wanted to make sure I get that out there. So we could have news, and then that GM would obviously assist the Jets in the search for the next HC. But that's from Rich Cimini yesterday. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here for the third straight day, baby. June, the GM, is here on the program, and with a great hat. Look at that hat. That's nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So yes. I wanted to address two major things. Yes. One thing is this narrative that Shedeur Sanders is not a good quarterback. It's really weird to me because I'm not a Fairweather fan. I've been a Jet fan for over 40 years. I'm 51 years old.
Wow.
So I've watched a lot of games. I've watched a lot of quarterbacks get drafted. There's two qualities I look for in quarterbacks. It's not necessarily arm strength because Joe Montana didn't have the strongest arm, but he was accurate. The two things I look for in quarterbacks is, number one, quick release, right? Sanders has that. He gets the ball out. And number two, he's tough as nails. That boy got hit and hit and hit at Colorado with a suspect offensive line. So you mean to tell me last year, I heard a lot of the so-called draft gurus kill May in North Carolina. Kill him.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, he's a franchise quarterback. He looks good. I always say this. Give me somebody who knows how to take a hit and who could get the ball out his hand fast. I like him. I think if you put Sanders in Alabama, we're not having this conversation. He's the number one. I think he gets a bad slack because of his father. You know, his father's very brash. We all love Deion. He's entertaining. But if Deion Sanders wasn't his father, I really don't think they would be assassinating his skill set. I like him, and I think Cam Ward has potential. But once again, it all depends on the coach, right? Because if you go to a bad situation, if Sanders, first of all, I don't think that Deion's going to let his son get drafted by Cleveland. I don't think it's happening.
Well, I'll just tell you this rumor that is out there in the universe. And by the way, I think, there are certain cons, of course, to having someone like Deion Sanders as your father. But there's also, you're the son of Deion Sanders. That could help. But there's rumors that Deion Sanders is interested in the Las Vegas job for HC. If he took that job, as the rumors say he's interested, and they're at 6, they offer a Godfather offer to Cleveland at 2, 6-2. It's the Deion Shedeur show in Las Vegas. And the more I hear that, I'm like,
I heard about that. I think that's crazy.
Very.
I mean, I get it. You want to coach your son this whole life. That's crazy because you're basically tying his success to you.
Of course. Yeah.
The next level is a different type of coaching. You know how it is. You don't get, all the accolades. You coming in, you're Deion, but you're not going to get 5 years to fix things.
No.
That's crazy. I hope he doesn't do that. My other point I wanted to make was, I'm starting to get a little nervous with this GM coaching search. I feel like because of our organization, the longer we wait, the more danger we're in. This is what they do to Jets. I do believe this is what, look at the difference in franchises. Okay. Look at New England. They knew what they wanted. They don't give a damn what people are saying. Hey, we want Vrabel. Let's go. Sign him up. You're in here. why are we taking so long? If you know Aaron Glenn is the dude, which I don't think he is for them. I like him. For some odd reason, I don't feel like they're convinced with Glenn. He had a good interview, then why he walked out the building without an offer?
Well, they can't do that right now for a coach because he's on a team that hasn't been eliminated. So the only thing they could maybe do is wink, wink, Aaron, handshake, you're our guy. We can't say anything because the NFL will come down on us. But so maybe that happened. We don't know. But that, as long as they're not eliminated from the playoffs, you can't hire a guy from a team. What's that?
I think that they're so afraid of taking a risk on an unproven commodity. A head coach, I really feel that we're gonna get Flores. I think we're gonna take that GM Griffin Grissom. I don't like him. I don't like him, but they say he learned. Whatever.
Well, I hope.
Flores, I'm in the middle with Flores. I feel like Flores is a really good coach, but he's arrogant, and I don't know how that arrogant personality is gonna take with our New York killer media. They kill everybody. They would take him out of his character. But I think word is he's gonna come over and he's gonna make Josh McCown his OC. I don't know how true this rumor is. There's 1,000 rumors. I personally don't like Flores. I would like to interview the OC from Tampa Bay. Give him a shot.
Liam Cohen, sure, yeah.
I would like to interview with that.
Hey, they're available now. Hey, they've been eliminated. So
I'm really getting very nervous with the long process because our history tells us when we take long, we do crazy things, and I'm concerned.
Fair enough. June the GM, appreciate the call, brother. Thank you. And it's an interesting point on the Vrabel thing. Let's touch on that real quick. New England is getting killed in the streets for hiring Mike Vrabel and saying, hey, Pep Hamilton, Byron Leftwich, let's private jet your ass in, interview, blah, 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 get out. And then Rooney Rule, check. Rooney Rule, check. And they're getting killed in the streets. But they got their guy. Mike Vrabel is a great coach. Wonderful. Good for New England, man. I can't hate on him. It's a good hire. Now, they got a shitty-ass roster. They got to overcome that. They got Drake May, who people are interested in. They've got a top 4 pick, and they got Mike Vrabel. And $130 million in cap space. So they got a nice little thing there. Again, the roster sucks. So they're going to have to overcome that. That's a big piece. But they just went out and got their guy. So there is something like, hey, now, tip of the cap to New England. The Jets waiting thing doesn't, because, again, the Patriots are the only one that's hired someone yet. The waiting part, I'm okay with, but the scary part is Rich coming out saying, oh, boy, that GM hire is coming. And I'm like, and I started looking around, like, coming from where? Who, what? Ryan Grigson scares the shit out of me. And his first pick ever in his career was Andrew Luck. Wow, Andrew Luck, that's a pretty good pick, right? Rich Cimini was on the radio yesterday, and someone brings that up to Rich because he brought up Ryan Grigson as a guy he could see. And someone brings it up to Rich on the show. I think it was Amani Toomer, who's a former Giants receiver. He does the ESPN radio stuff too. He's like, hey, he picked Andrew Luck. And Rich Cimini went, I could have picked Andrew Luck that year. Come on, man. How much credit does he get for picking Andrew Luck? And he destroyed Andrew Luck. He didn't build him an offensive line, and Andrew Luck's career ended prematurely. He retired early. Now, you could say the Jets have their offensive line figured out, so hopefully Ryan Grigson can't fuck that up. But, I mean, there were some bad drafts in there in Indy. Again, to June's point, maybe he learned. Same thing with Brian Flores. That would be like the second chance of America vote, because Brian Flores had all the shitty relationships with players. So people are like, have you learned? Ryan Grigson, I had the shitty stuff in Indianapolis, but have you learned? So it'd be, if the Jets hired the Vikings core, okay, that would be second chance America. That'd be, you know what, Brian Flores, you deserve a second chance. You know what, Ryan Grigson, you deserve a second chance. And they're experienced guys, which I imagine is something that would intrigue the Jets. But Grigson scares me. To be honest, Flores scares me a little. To be honest, I hope he's learned for the player thing. I mean, he's won 9 and 10 games as a coach in 2 of his 3 years as a head coach. That part's pretty good. Jets haven't done that a lot recently. But exactly, June the GM just said it. Just said it in the comments. I pray we get it right. So any way that they do it, I just pray they get it right. Now, I'm intrigued by the overall GM list from the Jets. There's a lot of names I like. I think they're doing a really good process there at general manager. Head coach, there's a lot of names I like. There's some I'm like, oh. There's a little bit of that action happening, but, we'll see. Again, we got nearly 600 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Also, let's get those memberships flowing, baby. Again, that is the Boy Green raffle leaderboard there on the screen. You can buy a Boy Green Coffee Club membership for yourself down below. It says join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. It's only $2.99 a month. Or you can gift memberships if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the money sign. Final option says gift channel memberships. You can gift as many channel memberships as you like. Each gifted membership gives you a raffle ticket to our contest. At the end of the month, we're giving away all of these wonderful prizes, baby, including but not limited to a Aaron Rodgers Nike Atmosphere Heather Gray jersey, a $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card. That link to my store is in the YouTube description down below, plus an awesome big custom laser engraving Jets Boy Green package that has a license plate, pens, coins, and so much more. So you get all of that if you win the raffle. And obviously, if you have one ticket, you have a chance. Only $2.99. You guys can also super chat or super sticker in if you prefer. Feel free to do that as well. So get those membership flowing. There's no limit to how many raffle tickets you can have. And again, that's our current top 5 leaderboard on the scrolling ticker down below. But make sure you guys get involved, baby. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. We got our guy, B-Mac. Bum, 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 bum. What's up, B-Mac?
Hey, Paul. Good morning to you.
I'm so sorry about over the weekend.
To see you. Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. Disaster yesterday for the Packers. Joe Love needs to be held accountable. You're the highest paid quarterback, and you need to, you can't go out there and put out a stinker like that.
And I picked him, by the way, on the radio. We make all our picks for the games. I picked the Green Bay Packers straight up, baby, and I am an idiot today, but I picked them for you, B-Mac. I did.
Yeah. Did you bet money?
Hell no, I don't bet. Here's the problem, B-Mac. I have a very addictive personality. And there was parts of my life where I got I did some lotto tickets, betting, that sort of stuff. And I was winning a lot of money and then losing I'm like, oh, I got to stop this. My life is going to spiral out of control. So I've gotten out of the betting thing. I do mostly stuff for fun, fantasy football or stuff like that. So I don't do any, no money. We just do it for pride at the radio station, thankfully.
Yeah, well, thank God you didn't bet no money.
Thank God. Yes.
But again, this is a Jet show, so it's talking.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
First of all, I want to talk about the Mike Tomlin thing, and
sure.
I saw Jake's show yesterday, and B-Man. I don't know if you know him, but he's one.
Of course, a fellow Puerto Rican. Of course, I do.
Yeah. Caught in, and I think he hit a lot of great points about Mike Tomlin. Him and Jake was going back and forth on Tomlin, and he said that. I'm just going to say this: that Tomlin doesn't have his team prepared in big games and big situations. And when he faces a team that's when he faces an inferior opponent in the playoffs, he seems to overlook them. And this has been a constant twin. It's not a one-time thing. And I just want to bring that up is that the reason Jet fans have issues with Robert Saleh is that he didn't have his team prepared in a big game situation. You know what I mean? When the game was on the line and they needed to, and they needed, for a playoff competition, something like that. So I just want to get your thoughts on that because again, Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach, but we can't overlook that there is flaws, and I see why Pittsburgh fans want to get rid of him because he doesn't have his team ready and prepared in a big game situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's compelling parts of what you say. There is that lack of preparation, lack of whatever, because if you look at, so he's lost 6 straight playoff games. 5 of those were one and dones, and the 6th one, he lost the AFC Championship game, so fine, so be it. But the 5 straight were one and done opportunities, and his team gets buried immediately. I mean, look at those 5 games. Someone tweeted it out. He was down 21-0, 28-0, 21-0, all these crazy scores in all these games, which again goes back to your point of not being prepared, ready for the moment. So that's a red flag. And obviously there has to be something going on there because why else would Pittsburgh get rid of him if he was great? You know what I mean? And I'm not questioning, again, to your same point, Mike Tomlin's a really good coach. I'm just saying they wouldn't move on from him if something wasn't off kilter. If something wasn't off kilter, they would just keep him, obviously. So, there's obviously something going on there that the Jets would have to investigate if it was going to happen. Again, to me, I just feel like the price is going to be too expensive. Past coaching trades involve multiple first and other stuff, and I'm just not willing to go there. I know a lot of other Jet fans are, and God bless that they are. I was willing to have the conversation yesterday and talk through it because it was so rumor rampant yesterday morning, but I would not be.
I'm not discrediting the man. The guy has a great resume. Hasn't had a losing season. Won games with Travis Holmes at quarterback. Got to the playoffs. But we have. But again, I don't. I like to act like this guy is beyond perfect and that he's Bill Belichick and that there's no like he does have weaknesses and flaws.
Yeah, well, we get this comment, and Three Siblings said
his tenure.
Yeah, Three Siblings said, why did the Eagles fire Andy Reid? And I think it's the same reason that the Steelers would potentially move on is they believe they reached their ceiling. And a lot of success. He went to 5 NFC championship games with the Eagles. They went to a Super Bowl that they lost to the New England Patriots. I think Mike Tomlin has sort of he wins a lot of games. He's respectable, right? He's not the Jets where we're having 3, 4, 2-win seasons. He's never had any of those. He's always a winning coach. But they're in purgatory. They're constantly stuck in the middle because they can't get over the hump. And the Eagles eventually moved on to Andy Reid because they couldn't get over the hump. And it all worked out for all parties. Andy Reid went to Kansas City, won a bunch of Super Bowls, and the Eagles won their Super Bowl with Doug Peterson. So it all worked out for everybody there. I'd be curious what happened to Pittsburgh.
I will say this real quick. If Mike Tomlin somehow does come to the Jets, I think that's a likely big chance that Rodgers stays as the quarterback.
I think there'd be something to be said for that.
Yeah, and because I think that Tomlin might want to win now, and Rodgers. I think Rodgers might be the best quarterback he has since Ben Roethlisberger, if he being real. And I think again, I know I may going over this, but I still think Rodgers is the Jets' best chance because you ain't gonna find someone better than the stats he put up this year. So, what's your response to that?
Yeah, I think there's a handful of coaches, and we will see ultimately. I think there's a handful of coaches if the Jets hired him, they could consider keeping Rodgers. Tomlin would be on that list. Vrabel would have been on that list for me. We'll see who else. Where does AG stand? That'll be interesting. Because again, I don't know AG enough personally as a person. I've only seen clips on Hard Knocks and stuff like that to try to get an understanding of who he is as a person. So his personality and stuff, how that would vibe with Rodgers, that I'm unsure of. But yeah, again, Aaron Rodgers versus everything else. There's going to be this thought process of whether or not that person can come in and vibe with Rodgers or not. And there are people on both sides. And I think there is a world where Aaron Rodgers is back next year. Yes. Tomlin would be a guy that I would imagine would keep that. Yes.
All right, that's it, Paul.
Appreciate it, B-Mac. Thanks for the call. Bum, bum, da, 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 da. All right, beautiful. All right, we got 600 people in the room. We'll squeeze in one last call here. We got NYJKO before I got to jump over to the radio show. What's up, NYJ?
Hey, what's up, BG? Good morning, man. Good morning, Jets Nation.
Good morning. Yeah.
I'm seeing, the whole, people saying trade for a coach, do this and do that. Honestly, I like Mike Tomlin, and I don't know. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to give him up for pennies because the guy, think he has not had one losing season as a head coach. People got to understand that how hard that is in his league. He's never had a losing season. So if Pittsburgh was like, let's play the game, they will rape us for picks and plays probably potentially. So honestly, I wouldn't trade for no coach. No. But I think it's likely that we're going to get Aaron Glenn. I got a gut feeling that he's going to become the head coach. I think Ulbricht's going to stay as the DC. He's going to kick back to DC, and I believe that he might bring Ben Johnson along from Detroit with him. It might.
Wait, what?
Ben, the offensive coordinator from the Lions.
So what would the staff be?
I think the staff would be Aaron Glenn as head coach, Ulbricht kicks back to DC, and Ben Johnson come as the offensive coordinator.
Wait, Ben Johnson's the OC in Detroit. Why would he come to the Jets to be their OC?
Who knows? Who knows the kind of relationship him and Glenn has? This is what I'm saying. Who knows? It could be in the air. Or even if you don't get him, they might bring the guy from Maryland who got interviewed recently. He might become the OC. Or Josh McCown might become the OC because he interviewed for the offensive coordinator position. So who knows? You know, it's the game right now. Who knows? You know who we might get. And as far as draft pick, I would like, all right, being that DJ Reed already let it be known that he's leaving and looking towards free agency, cool. Kick rocks. I would look towards drafting Will Johnson.
Okay.
Will Johnson would
Ricky
be my
New York
pick.
would love that. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I would. Who wouldn't love that? We have two. You know, we have another lockdown corner. You know, you really can't pick on a so much or even a Will Johnson because Will Johnson. He reminds me of a Diggs, but he plays real fundamentally sound football. He doesn't look to jump routes all the time, but if he has a chance to jump a route, if it's clear as day, like all right, let me take advantage. He catches the ball. He's big. He's 6'2". He's very sticky in coverage. He's a good physical press corner at the line of scrimmage, which is something that we need. DJ Reed couldn't do it. I met DJ Reed. DJ Reed he's small. He's 5'9", 5'8". He's too little. Receivers 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". He's too small. So, and I've been seeing mocks of us. I'm probably getting Mason Graham, the D tackle from Michigan. I've been seeing that a lot. And the receiver from Arizona, I forgot his name,
Ted
McMillan.
Yes.
Yes, T-Mac. I'm trying to think. That it's up in the air as far as at 7. I've seen Abdul Carter. And actually, that's one of my brother, close friend at Penn State right now. He's a real big supporter of my little brother.
Tell him to come to the Jets.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah, let him know.
But see, But how are we gonna do that, BG? When we have Jermaine Johnson coming back, he's gonna come back with something to prove. Will McDonald's only gonna get better. This is what I'm saying. But he came what. He had an Achilles injury, Johnson. I think he's going to bounce back. I think that's not like an everyday injury. That's like once in a lifetime. AVT. Look, he overcame his injury bug, played a full year, looked good. Who else? I would say draft an offensive lineman too. We had to stack on some offensive linemen. We had to. That's a must.
We do. We especially need a right tackle. That's what we need for sure. We got to take a timeout real quick. I can't get past the coaching staff thing. So, Aaron Glenn, head coach, cool. Totally cool. That makes a lot of sense. Ben Johnson as the OC. Jeff Ulbrich as the DC. What the? Huh? What? Ben Johnson wasn't willing to speak with the Jets about the head coaching role. He'd come over here at the OC, and it's a lateral move, so the Lions could block if the Jets requested an OC gig for Ben Johnson. That is, and Ulbrich staying as the DC. I don't. I'm not. I'm not sure how to. Yeah, so that part I'm just a little. I'm not sure how that staff. I don't know what part is the. I'm just a little speechless on what that staff would look like. It's like Ben Johnson, he's either getting a head coaching job or he's staying as a Lions OC. And then Jeff Ulbrich, God, bless his heart, he's going to have some job somewhere. I just don't think Ulbrich or any member of this staff is going to be in the building. Wow. That was a take. That might be one of the most eyebrow-raising takes we've ever had on this show. That might be. With 600 people in the room, like the video, hit subscribe. Yeah, I don't know how to move on from that. So we're just going to call it right there. That is it. What a show. Boy Green Daily, Mock Draft Mondays, Top Jets Draft Fits. What a program. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, Domsey will be joining us every Monday. Outside of very rare exceptions when he's traveling for the draft events, he won't be, but we'll have special other shows to make up for it that week, and I'll bring on other draft analysts. Those Mondays too. What a way to end the program. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Good Lord have mercy. Wow.